Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about bad thoughts. So let me make a disclaimer right now. This is not a medical related video, this is a spiritual related video. So this is not going to be talking about any kind of bad thoughts relating to what your physician or psychologist said or any kind of doctor prescription. No, this is a spiritual related video and I'm going to be talking to you about spiritual related issues as to why you guys are having bad thoughts. Now, let's get on with the video. So, let's talk about this right now. You have to think about the origins of your thoughts. Where do the thoughts come from? You guys are having, some of you who are watching this video and wondering why you have bad thoughts, my biggest advice is that you don't make a big deal about the bad thought, because anything you give attention to will catch light, or well, you'll give it light. You'll give it some of your fire. You'll give it some of your flame. So basically, when it comes to bad thoughts, track where they come from. I suggest you guys start writing everything down. So if you're having 100,000 thoughts and things are wild for you and maybe you don't have certain crystals on hand, which I'll talk about crystals to keep away bad thoughts as well, you have to write everything down. You literally have to have a journal. And don't do this sometimes. Some of you just flat out waste your time and just do it once and never do it again. And then you're like, it didn't work, but you did it for 3 minutes for one day. Like you just wasted your time and you didn't put in that much effort, and the 3 minutes could have been turned into something that could have helped you, but you never did it. So basically what you'll do is get into the habit of journaling. When you guys when you overthink thoughts, the easiest way to kill overthinking is to write it down. If you're someone who has these wild, absolutely wild, absurd, crazy thoughts, the first thing you should not do is feel guilty. Now, you can look up online right now. There's a scale of vibrations. There's lower vibrations, there's medium vibrations, and there's high vibrations. Ask yourself if what is popping into your head, if those vibrations are on the high end of the scale or on the low end of the scale. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, a giant reason most of you are having bad thoughts on a spiritually related level is entities nearby. And people are like, oh, I don't have spirits near me. I don't have anything that is spiritual related to me. I don't have spirits around me. Okay, listen to me right now. You all have spirits around you. All of us have good spirits around us. All of us have bad spirits around us. All of us have angels around us. All of us have demons around us. All of us have everything around us all the time, because the spiritual world is super connected. The whole spiritual world can hear you at once. That's that's something that people don't really know. The whole entire spiritual world can hear you at once. You're not silent from any entity. If you call upon any angel, they'll show up upon you even thinking about their name, let alone calling up their name out loud. With that being in point, when you're someone who's been around, and this is one reason as well, when you've been around the wrong people, when you've been eating the wrong foods, when you've been putting yourself in the wrong areas, you're going to inherit an attachment, and it's going to come home with you, and it's going to nag you mentally. Now, we are spiritual beings. We're part physical and we're part spiritual. People ask me, are you spiritual? Ooh, he's spiritual. I'm physical and I'm spiritual. I'm half flesh and I'm half spirit. You're not one or the other. If you were just flesh, no. You wouldn't be sentient and thinking and just being able to comprehend things. If you're just spirit, you wouldn't be in the flesh. Like, when we pass over, we're just spirit. Yeah. We're both. We're experiencing a human existence, so we're exposed to everything. When we go on the other side, then the laws of physics and the spiritualities change. Yeah, so everything kind of changes when you get over there. But everything, your guides, all of you guys have intuition. Most of you have intuition based off of spirit guides, ancestors, guardian angels. They'll literally talk to you in your head. Some of you can actually hear their word for word. Some of you have a gift in being able to hear them out loud, like bright as daylight. My angels will talk in my head very loud. Like it'll override other people's voices. Now, some people have that as well, and I think they're absolutely crazy. Like, sometimes it's random, sometimes it's consistent. Now, some of you guys have actually had this yourself, so you'll be like going out into the world, and you'll hear something very loud in your head that because you were just going along, maybe you're going with your friends to the park, and you hear something booming in your head. Don't go to the park. Don't do that. And you're like, oh, I have a you're saying to yourself, I have a weird feeling to not go to the park. And you don't go to the park because you thought it was your intuition. Literally, it's a guy talking into your head. They are not allowed to use their voices. They use our voices in our head, and we think it's just us. Sometimes it'll be more distinguishable than others. Like, for example, I will know who to trust and who to not trust just based off of that. But you guys can develop it during meditation. You guys can develop it with a connection to a specific guide, etc. But that's just an example with telepathy. With a good guide, with a guide that's your spirit guide, with a guide that's an angel, with a guide that's an ancestor that you really know and love. That's it. Everyone is different. Now, on the other side, keep in mind, with the dark comes the light, so there's two sides to everything. Now, on the dark side, because there's yin and yang in everything. There are dark entities. There are dark beings. There are dark guides. And some people are like, ooh, cool, a dark guide. Yeah, it's all fun and games until they're messing with all your tarot readings. They're harvesting your energy. You can't wake up out of bed because you have no energy. Yeah, it's all fun and games until they take over, because they'll say anything they want. They'll say anything you want to hear until they have enough energy and they're like, oh, cool, I'm gone. But dark guides are another topic for a different video. Not a good thing. Never a good thing. You're not in control when you have a good dark guide. I'll tell you that right now. You're not in control. And it's always going to outsmart you. Now, another thing, and I think it's interesting how people try to outsmart spirits and outsmart demons and just different dark entities. Like, yeah, you're a person. You can't even see it. Like, most of you, even when you can see it, you're looking at a mirror, some kind of refracted mirror image that it's presenting itself to you as in a vision or a dream. But okay, back to my point. The thing with bad thoughts, they come from dark entities. The entity might be a demon or something that is just a spirit. And the spirit was not good in life. It's not going to be good in the afterlife. If it's not willing to elevate, it's going to stay exactly where it is until Judgment Day. But so these entities, beings that are dark, literally, they don't have light. They purely don't have light, so they have to bother someone to get light. Think about it like this. You have friends, and you have people around you who want to be your friend, and they're just dark people, and you know nothing's going for them, and nothing's going on for them, so they have to try and create drama in your life. And they're trying to basically have an into your head, and try to create problems. Same thing with dark entities. So when those kind of people die and go into the afterlife, they're the same thing. They are the same exact thing, but they're invisible pretty much. So when you go into a club, when you go into a bar, when you go into a public environment with a bunch of dark entities, which, yeah, some areas you'll pick up a dark entity and you'll have bad thoughts, especially if you're trying to ponder your thoughts in a club. If you're going into deep thought mode, into just anywhere that's not a good place for a spiritually blessed place, then you're gonna pick something up. So what's a good example? So maybe you went to a bar, maybe you hung around the wrong friend, and you come home, and whatever's on that person who was getting, whatever entities on that person that was getting energy out of that person will come home with you, because you're more energy, you're new, you're fresh. They'll still go to that person as well, but you're just a new, especially if you don't have protections at your front door, which is very important. Have protections at your front door so these entities don't follow you in your house. Now, you have to keep in mind that, like I said, everything's open. So crystals do keep away certain entities from being able to ride your mind, because I literally call it riding your mind, because they'll send so many telepathic messages that you think are your own thoughts. And you're gonna wonder, hey, why am I having all these crazy thoughts? This isn't me. Like, why are these crazy thoughts popping up? These are absolutely crazy. Like, and you'll see, some of you will see images. Some of you will just hear bad words, and you'll hear swear words, and you'll get these most graphic, craziest things. And you'll try to ask people like, oh, I'm having bad thoughts. What's going on? And You're like, oh, maybe you should seek help. Well, if you're having a bunch of bad thoughts and it's not spiritually related, you can see help. This is not a medical video, but for the people who are spiritual, who are wondering why they're having bad thoughts, dark entities play a large role. They send you telepathic messages. Now, why would you ask yourself, why would a dark entity send me a dark message? Like, what do they get from that? Why are they trying to give me a bad thought? What did they get from that? Now, everything's energy, like I said from earlier. Everything's energy. And when they send you a dark thought and it finally goes through and it finally pops up in your mind and you think it's your own thought, there's a bit of fear, anxiety, kind of stress that kind of pops up as energy to the surface. And you're like, oh my God, what was that thought? What was that? I just saw that image in my head. What was that? So they're like, oh, yes, it went through. Finally, I've been doing this for a few days. Finally, the dark thought went through. And they'll be like, they'll get a satisfaction off of it. They'll harvest the energy and pull the energy off of it. And keep in mind, you guys really have to stop. I mean, not all of you, because I've seen this in some comment sections, like, I'm too protected. Yeah, I can't, no evil spirit can ever have an influence on me. I'm just too protected. No such thing. God put us on this plane for a reason. If you think you're overprotected to the point where an entity cannot communicate with you, then you need to focus on getting rid of your pride, because you're still human. You're not better than anyone else. You can wear every crystal in the world, but we are still having to do our part, and we're still having to basically stay out of the wrong environment, stay away from the wrong people, because certain entities will try to break through our protections. Yeah, we are not immune to everything. The crystals really do help. Fruits and herbs really do help, but we have to do our part. You can't be wearing every crystal and then having tequila in downtown and then wondering why you're having the world's craziest thoughts the next morning, okay? You can't be in the club on a Thursday celebrating your birthday that was last week and wondering why you're getting all these violent images in your head and you don't even know what they are. I'm not calling anyone out in specific, but guys, you really do have to pay attention to where you're going. When you go into an environment, ask yourself, is this environment... Okay, here's one way that you guys can tell if there's evil spirits lurking. And some of you already have evil spirits lurking in your house just because you don't cleanse it and you don't really even know what's going on. But one way you know an evil spirit's lurking is... Okay, so one thing with our nose can be energy detectors in several ways. But if we have the most violent of like scratching, itching noses, because my nose does several things. It picks up on scents from across the world. I can smell my friends, what they're cooking through the camera, through just the phone. But if your nose is itching violently like crazy, some of you might encounter this in school, wherever. It means a dark entity's lurking nearby and it's trying to attach itself to you and it's trying to talk to you. Another thing is if you start getting really hot, if you get chills, if you're getting just very uncomfortable, depending on where you're at, because your house can be a safe space if you actually protect it, which I'll make a video coming up in a few videos or next video about how to really secure your house from spiritual entities or dark entities and make it more angel friendly so angels can come into your house and really help you. Now, how do you get rid of these dark entities that attach themselves to you? Well, you really have to cut back on a few things. Cut back on going to the wrong places. Cut back on pork and beef. And people don't want to accept this, but pork and beef are spiritually low vibration foods. When the animal died, it went through a bunch of fear, and it literally transfers. You're not gonna wash the fear off the meat. I'm sorry to tell you that that's not how it works. If you're not ready to hear that, then this might not be the video for you. But yeah, if you want to actually get better, pork and beef are two meats that will tank your vibration. It will lower your vibration past the point of where angels are going to be able to talk in your head, because the higher your vibration is, the more loudly you'll hear angels in your head. The lower the vibration, the more you'll get crazy thoughts, nightmares, just bad visions they don't come true. Ooh, sorry. Never mind. I'm not gonna say what that was. Okay, so one thing you can do, okay, one thing you can do is just clean your diet, eat more fruits, raise your frequency, meditate, because if you have someone who is bad around you, then that person will have you having crazy thoughts. It could be a nice person, but if that person still has some bad energy and there's something wrong with them, you're gonna have the same crazy thoughts that pop into their head because the entity on them will be the same crazy thoughts that pop into your head. If you have someone around you, let's just say you have someone with crazy thoughts, and this is a little bit wild. One way I absolutely know when people have the world's craziest thoughts and they're really struggling is if I look at that person, even for a half second, something crazy pops in my head. I'm like, oh, this person's really struggling. Like, that's just a telepathy. Like, okay, this person has an entity nagging them. Just because when I looked at them, for a half second, something tried to enter. And I'm like, okay, that's how I know. And then if I ever ask the person, I'm like, do you have crazy thoughts? And they're like, how'd you know? And I'm like, well, there's an entity nearby riding you, because, yeah. You can do spiritual baths. You can use the ocean. You can use a river. You can use sea salt. Just, if you would like to learn about how to bathe spiritually, you should watch Eve the Medium. I'm not the type of person to teach intricate spiritual baths. I'll teach general spiritual baths. But if you'd like to know about actual, like, really specific spiritual baths based on what you're going through and your circumstances, go to Eve the Medium's YouTube channel and her website, and you'll learn a lot about spiritual baths from her. If you don't have crystals, if you don't have herbs, if you don't have if you don't use any kind of protection, if you don't have any charms, if you're not using any bracelets, if you're not using any kind of just stone or anything at all, you're fully naked. I'm gonna be the first YouTuber to tell you that you're fully naked. You don't have armor. We are in a world where this is a spiritual war. If you walk outside your house and you're not wearing you're just wearing your clothes. You don't have protection on you unless you're in an initiated tradition, unless you did a spiritual bath. Then the spiritual bath or the initiation or whatever being, your only protections at that point are the entities in the initiated just practice, your guides. And here's the thing, angels can't help you fully sometimes if you're not helping yourself. That's why people are like, oh, I'm too protected, I don't need black tourmaline. Well, guess what? And I've seen people do that, and I've seen those people go through the worst of things and they just mask it with denial. If you want actual help, this channel is actually going to help you. So yeah, dark entities are a major reason as to why people have really bad thoughts. And the best thing you can do is when you have these crazy wild thoughts is to really get in a systematic approach. And one, you have to ground. So you have to connect to Mother Earth. You put your feet in the ground when you go outside and fresh, fertile dirt. You can use grounding crystals such as smoky quartz, black tourmaline. I've made videos about grounding crystals. Use amethyst because it's like a helmet for your head. And you can also use lapis lazuli is a mental shield as well. There's several other crystals. I've made videos about it. Go through my YouTube channel and find those, because I've listed so many crystals in past videos and in detail and why. But the best thing you can do is not freak out on sight of the thought popping in your head. Just recognize it and know that nothing can be created or destroyed. Your thoughts are not fully your thoughts. I'm going to tell you that right now. We live in a world where telepathy is real. Even you might be able to hear your crush. I mean, someone who has a crush on you might be able to hear their thoughts. Pay attention to what pops in your head and you'll be very intrigued. This is how you can pick up a lot of spiritual messages from your guides and from angels, is that the most random of things that pop in your head, like, hey, check outside the door at 12 o'clock. Like, you'll just hear the most random things, and you open the door and you'll bump into the Amazon person who is accidentally handing you the wrong package, because that stuff that really does happen. Just pay attention to what pops in your head. Too many people are used to ignoring their thoughts. Your thoughts are everything. To some spiritual beings, they can hear your thoughts as loud as daylight. A lot of you think that your thoughts are private. Somewhat, but still, if you have because you have chatty thoughts. If you're watching this video, you're a human and you're having chatty thoughts. Try to keep your mind silent for 2 seconds. You can do it during meditation, but our minds are always going. That's just the nature of humans, is that our minds are like, bah, 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 bah. bah, 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 bah. But if you could track where the thoughts are coming from, then you actually know if they're good or bad, where like just you'll be able to track it. So I hope this video really helped you. Don't flip out when you have bad thoughts. Just get into a systematic approach of upgrading your protections, upgrading your cleansings. You can just, Even Medium's channel is very good to teach you at spiritual baths. You should take a spiritual bath if you're having too many bad thoughts. Stay away from Ouija boards because you'll have bad thoughts for years. You'll have like, just stay away from those. Don't even go on TikTok lives or any kind of Instagram lives because it literally means yes, you're agreeing to having bad thoughts without even knowing it. Stay away from just rotten tarot readers. Like on TikTok, on Instagram, they'll be reading people and you'll stay just to see what they're saying, or you'll just stay because you're watching a video. And then now you're having bad thoughts because there was entities behind whatever was doing that reading, and it wasn't an entity of light, and it was a trickster spirit trying to get some gossipy information or just some kind of information because, remember, everything is energy. These entities have a life. These entities have until Judgment Day to literally do whatever they want, or at least to an extent, and harvest energy, giving people bad thoughts, setting them crazy. When those people go absolutely crazy, maybe when those people have bad thoughts, they'll start having alcohol and drinking or doing drugs, and those entities can get in. And it gives them a little bit of a joyride, and things go downhill from there. But just don't feel guilt. Don't feel low vibrations. Check out the vibration scale. It's everywhere online. Like love and higher consciousness are like the top of the scale. Anger and hate is at the bottom of the scale. It's good for you guys to look into, to recognize, and just practice journaling and backtracking thoughts. If you have any questions, I'll make more videos like this again because I've talked about bad thoughts in the past, but several of you do have bad thoughts and you don't know why, especially for the new people or new people finding my channel. I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. Until then, I will see you next time. Ciao!